You know that feeling when something just works perfectly? Like a door that just glides, totally silent.
Yeah.
Or maybe a tool that never seems to jam up on you.
Uh-huh.
Ever wondered if the secret sauce, could be the same kind of heavy-duty stuff they use on massive industrial machines?
It's funny you mention that.
Well, today we're diving deep. We've got this really interesting info from PE Energy Industrial Supply, and we're going to explore the, well, surprisingly diverse world of Jet-Lube products. Think way beyond the factory floor.
Exactly. We've been looking through their notes, and it covers everything from, say, firearm maintenance
Wow.
all the way to, like, carnival rides, keeping them running safely.
Seriously.
Yeah. And our goal isn't just to, list off a product catalog. It's more about understanding the actual science.
Hmm.
Why are these lubricants and sealants so good in places you wouldn't expect?
Right, the why.
It's about those aha moments,
Yeah.
when you see how basic principles reducing friction, stopping corrosion, making a good seal apply in completely different situations.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Let's start maybe close to home, stuff we can all relate to, those little household annoyances.
Good idea.
We found some really interesting ways Jet-Lube products get used for common DIY fixes. Plumbing, for example.
Uh-huh.
Turns out their V2 thread sealant, you might picture it on some huge factory pipe. It's actually NSF 61 certified.
Right. And that's a big deal.
Why exactly? What does that mean for, like, home use?
Well, NSF 61 means it's certified safe for contact with drinking water, potable water.
Ah, okay. So that dripping shower head, or maybe a leaky faucet under the sink.
Yeah, potentially. You could fix it with this, like industrial grade stuff
Yeah.
that's also tested and confirmed safe for your tap water.
It does make you wonder, doesn't it, why we maybe don't think of these kinds of solutions for everyday issues.
Well, I think that certification, the NSF 61, it kind of bridges that gap, between really tough industrial performance and the safety needs we have at home. It shows you don't always need a separate, maybe less effective product for your house if a high-quality industrial one meets those safety standards.
Hmm.
Kind of poses a question, doesn't it? Are we limiting ourselves sometimes by not looking at solutions from, well, seemingly unrelated industries?
That's a really good point. And it doesn't stop with plumbing, right? The home fixes?
No, not at all.
Think about sliding doors or windows that always seem to, stick or screech.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, white lithium grease is a go-to for those tracks. And also things like car door hinges, locks, even window tracks.
Yeah.
It's all about just getting things moving smoothly again, right? Tackling friction.
Exactly. It's funny how we often just kind of put up with those little daily frictions, isn't it?
Yeah, you just live with it.
But a quick application of the right lubricant can make such a difference.
So why white lithium grease? What makes it good for that?
Well, it gives you good, long-lasting lubrication, and it sticks well to metal.
Mm-hmm.
So when you put it on those spots,
Okay.
you're not just quieting a squeak for a day, you're actually cutting down on wear and tear. You might even prevent bigger problems later on.
Huh. Preventative maintenance, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. A small effort, but it can really impact how long things work well.
Okay. And speaking of things getting stuck, there's another one mentioned. MT silicone grease.
Right?
For door locks, padlocks, even the keyhole itself. But then it gets kind of modern.
How so?
Well, they say it can work on smart home devices like motorized blinds or automatic doors, even the wheels on your robot vacuum.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I can see that.
And get this, a tiny bit can apparently stop your car locks from freezing in winter.
Okay, that's genuinely useful.
That's a lot of different jobs for one type of grease.
Well, the key there is the silicone base. MP silicone grease has some unique properties.
Like what?
It's very non-reactive.
Yeah.
That means it won't harm plastics or rubber, which is important for electronics.
Right, like in the smart home stuff?
Exactly. And it works really well across a huge temperature range. So it's fine for delicate electronics, but also tough enough for mechanical locks and stable enough to handle freezing temperatures for those car locks.
It really shows how understanding the, base chemistry unlocks all these uses.
Precisely.
Okay, let's shift slightly to safety. Always important.
Yeah.
If you're firing up the barbecue.
Grilling season.
Yeah. TFW thread sealant is recommended for the propane or natural gas connections. That definitely seems like good advice. You need a solid seal there.
Absolutely critical. With gas lines, the seal integrity is non-negotiable for safety. TFW being recommended tells you it's reliable for preventing leaks.
Makes sense. And for the garage, that noisy garage door.
Oh yeah, the rollers.
EP bearing grease can apparently quiet those down.
Right. Those things take a beating.
Yeah.
A good grease reduces friction, extends the life of the rollers, and just makes it run smoother and, frankly, safer.
Even exercise equipment, white lithium grease, again, for treadmill maintenance.
Yeah, treadmills have moving parts under load too. Similar principle, reduce friction, reduce wear. It's quite surprising how many everyday items rely on these sorts of specialized products when you stop and think about it.
It really is. Okay, so we've covered the house, more or less. But the scope just explodes when we look at cars, transport.
Oh, yeah?
And not just cars, right? We're talking motorcycles, off-road vehicles, even trains.
Exactly. When you think about the sheer variety of vehicles and all the different stresses they face,
Yeah.
you really start to appreciate how specific these lubrication solutions need to be. For performance, but also just for basic safety.
Okay, so let's take motorcycles. Molly mist a dry lubricant for the chains.
Right.
The dry part sounds interesting. Why dry?
Well, think about a motorcycle chain. It's exposed, right? A typical wet lube can attract dirt, grit, road grime. It becomes a mess.
Yeah, like grinding paste.
Exactly. A dry lubricant forms a slick film but doesn't stay sticky or wet. So it lubricates effectively, but minimizes all that abrasive stuff sticking to it.
So cleaner and less wear.
Precisely. Keeps the chain running efficiently, reduces wear, probably makes it last longer too. Smoother power delivery.
That makes sense. Okay, what about off-road? ATVs, UTVs? Sounds rough.
It is. They mentioned Alco EP73 Plus for joints. Things like ball joints, tie rods, suspension part.
Alpo EP, the EP must mean something extreme.
Got it. Extreme pressure.
Yeah.
Off-road vehicles slam their suspension systems constantly. Uneven ground, big impacts.
Right.
So a grease like Alco EP73 Plus is built to handle that. It keeps its lubricating film even under intense pressure, stopping metal parts from grinding together, crucial for those steering and suspension bits.
Keeps things from breaking, essentially.
And ensures they work reliably when you need them.
Okay, we already mentioned MP silicone grease for frozen car locks. That's a nice little crossover showing its versatility.
Yeah, practical tip.
But moving up in size, Jetplex EP for heavy-duty truck axles.
Whoa.
Yeah, that really scales things up, doesn't it? Imagine the weight on those axles constantly.
It's enormous, and they run for thousands, millions of miles. A grease like Jetplex EP needs incredible load-carrying ability, and it has to handle heat, too.
Right.
The fact that they specify that grease for such a critical job tells you it's a pretty specialized heavy-duty formulation. Essential for safe transport.
Definitely. Okay, another one. Boat trailers. Marine MP grease for the wheel bearings.
Ah, water resistance. Makes sense.
Yeah, they say specifically because of water resistance. Those bearings get dunked all the time, right? Launching the boat.
Constantly. And water's terrible for most greases. It washes the grease away,
Oh.
and then you get corrosion, rust, and eventually the bearing fails.
What?
Often at the worst possible time.
Like on the side of the highway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So Marine MP has additives to resist that water washout. It stays put, keeps lubricating, keeps protecting, even when submerged in fresh or salt water. Crucial for safety.
Okay, RV owners, listen up. Copra Cody for RV jacks and stabilizers. To prevent something called galling. You know that awful squeaking and sticking when you're trying to level the RV?
Yes. Very annoying. So what's galling? Sounds bad.
It is. It's a type of wear you get when two metal surfaces rub together under high pressure. They can sort of micro-weld and seize up.
Oh, okay.
Copper Cody likely has copper particles or something similar that act like tiny ball bearings between the surfaces, creates a protective layer, prevents that direct metal contact, makes the jacks work smoothly.
Much less frustration at the campsite.
Definitely.
Now for something really big. OGH, Open Gear Lubricant. For railway maintenance, specifically railroad switches.
Wow, okay. That's critical infrastructure.
Totally. Failure is not an option there. What kind of challenges would a lubricant face on a railroad switch?
Well, they're exposed to everything: rain, snow, dirt, sun, massive temperature swings, and huge forces when the switch moves to direct a train.
Right.
So an open gear lube like OGH needs, first off, amazing adhesion, and it's to stick to those gears and not get flung off or washed away.
Then, long-lasting protection against wear and corrosion. And it needs to handle those heavy loads without squeezing out. It's really a testament to how robust these lubes can be.
It really is. Okay, we saw white lithium grease again for car door hinges, just reinforces its general usefulness.
Yeah, good all-rounder.
And then thinking cold, Arctic grease for snowmobiles, suspension and bearings.
Makes sense. Low-temperature performance.
Why is that so critical? What happens to regular grease when it gets really cold?
It gets thick. like really thick, almost solid sometimes.
So things stop moving properly.
Exactly. Suspension won't work right. Bearings create a lot more drag, more wear.
Mm.
Arctic grease uses a base oil and additives that let it stay fluid and effective even way below freezing. Ensures the snowmobile works properly in those harsh conditions.
Got it. And finally, for this transport section, TFW thread sealant comes back again, this time for fuel line fittings. Gasoline, diesel.
So it's fuel resistant too.
Seems like it. Not just good for gas connections, but holds up against different fuels. That has to be a key safety point.
Oh, absolutely. Fuel lines need a perfect seal. The sealant has to resist being broken down by the chemicals in the fuel itself. If it degrades, you get leaks, and that's a major fire hazard in any vehicle. So fuel compatibility is crucial.
Okay, wow. That's a lot just in transport. Let's shift gears again into the industrial and mechanical side.
Right. This is often where you see the really extreme conditions, the most demanding applications.
Yeah, high heat, huge pressures, running nonstop.
Exactly. Really pushes these products to their limits.
First one, exhaust manifold bolts. Anyone who's wrenched on an engine knows these things seize up like crazy. Heat, vibration.
Oh, nightmare bolts.
They recommend nickel and 550 extreme anti-seize. What makes anti-seize work so well there?
Well, those extreme heat cycles and the constant vibration basically cause the bolt and the manifold threads to corrode and almost weld themselves together.
Right.
Anti-seize compounds like nickel, which has nickel particles or 550 extreme, create a physical barrier between the threads, like tiny metal particles acting as separators.
So they can't fuse.
Exactly. It prevents the seizing, makes it vastly easier to take apart later, saves a ton of time, busted knuckles, and broken bolts.
I wish I'd known that years ago. Okay, moving to renewable energy. Wind turbines. Alco EP73 Plus again. For the gearboxes and bearings, that extreme pressure protection seems key. Those turbines must be under constant heavy load.
They really are. The gearboxes handle enormous torque, turning the slow blade rotation into high speed for the generator, and they run constantly, often out in the middle of nowhere.
Right. Maintenance must be tough.
Very. So that EP protection from Alco EP73 Plus is vital to prevent gear and bearing wear under those tough conditions.
Yeah.
Keeps them running reliably for a long time.
Okay. Something a bit smaller but still important, trailer hitch couplers. CC Lubo or white lithium grease can stop them sticking. Anyone who's fought with a stubborn hitch knows that pain. Why do they stick so badly?
Usually just exposure. Rain, dirt, maybe sitting unused for a while. They corrode, rust builds up. Applying a lubricant like CC Lube or white lithium creates a protective film. Stops the rust, keeps moisture out. Just makes coupling and uncoupling much smoother. Simple fix for a common headache.
Good tip. Okay, climate control. Refrigeration systems. TF25 thread sealant is recommended. They also face extreme temperatures, right? Cold, anyway.
Yeah, and they cycle through temperatures and pressures. A sealant like TF25 needs to stay flexible and maintain its seal through all that.
Why is the seal so critical there?
Refrigerant leaks. Bad for efficiency, the system won't cool properly, and bad for the environment, depending on the refrigerant. So you need a sealant that holds tight under those changing conditions.
Got it. Now, automation, robotics, kiln grease, HT.
HT, high temperature.
That's what it suggests. For robotic arms, automation machinery, industrial bearings. So it handles heat and the precise movements of robots.
That would make sense. Robots often involve high-speed, very repetitive motions, motors, joints. They can generate a fair bit of heat. So a high-temp grease like kiln grease HT would provide the lubrication needed for smooth, precise movement, but without breaking down or thinning out too much from the heat. Keeps those complex machines running reliably.
Okay, back to more basic systems. Conveyor belts, Jetplex EP for the rollers and bearings. Keeping those moving seems fundamental for so many industries.
Absolutely. Think warehouses, factories, mining. Conveyors are everywhere.
What are the main challenges for lubes there? Just constant running.
Constant running, often under heavy loads, and frequently in really dusty or dirty places.
Contamination.
Big time. So the grease, Jetplex EP in this case, needs to minimize friction and wear from the constant movement, but also protect the bearings from grit and dirt getting in. Helps keep the whole system running smoothly, reduces breakdowns.
Okay. Electrical systems now. SS30, extreme anti-seize for grounding bolts.
Interesting. Conductivity and corrosion prevention.
Yeah, a good ground connection is vital for safety, right?
Yeah. Paramount. Corrosion on a grounding bolt creates electrical resistance. That means the ground path isn't reliable, which can be incredibly dangerous.
So how does the anti-seize help?
SS30 likely has conductive particles in it, maybe stainless steel, given the name. So it not only stops corrosion from forming,
Uh-huh.
but it also helps maintain a good, low-resistance electrical path through the connection. Ensures the ground works when it needs to.
Clever. Okay, manufacturing again. Hydraulic presses. Temp Garda for the press plates. Extreme pressure and heat there.
Yeah, that sounds like one of the toughest environments yet. Hydraulic presses generate incredible forces, often with heated plates for forming materials.
Right.
So TempGuard has to withstand that immense pressure without being squeezed out and handle the high temperatures without degrading. Provides continuous lubrication, prevents damage to those critical press plates.
Makes sense. Even battery backup systems get a mention. Rust guard for the terminals.
Preventing corrosion.
Hmm.
Seems simple, but really important.
Yeah, easy to overlook battery terminals, but if they corrode, the whole backup system might fail when you need it most.
Exactly. Corrosion means poor contact, high resistance,
Hmm.
maybe not enough power gets through. Rust guard just puts a protective barrier there, stops the oxidation, ensures a reliable connection.
Good peace of mind. And last one in this industrial batch, EP bearing grease again, this time for escalators, chains, and step bearings.
Something we use all the time without thinking about it.
Until it's broken, those things run constantly in busy places.
They do. And safety is obviously key. Smooth, reliable operation of those chains and bearings is essential. EP bearing grease provides the needed lubrication and wear protection to keep them going day in, day out.
Okay, wow. That covers a lot of heavy-duty ground. Now for what I think is the really fun part.
The unexpected stuff.
Yeah. The uncommon, maybe surprising discoveries. This is where Jet-Lube seems to pop up in places you just never guess.
Right. It really shows how understanding those core properties, heat resistance, pressure handling, friction reduction, lets you apply them creatively.
Totally. First one, Jetplex EP again. We saw it on truck axles.
And conveyor belts?
Now, carnival rides, roller coasters, amusement park ride bearings.
No way. That's amazing.
Isn't it? The same kind of grease might be keeping a giant truck rolling and making sure a roller coaster ride is safe and smooth. The forces on those coaster bearings must be incredible.
Absolutely huge. High speeds, intense G-forces, constant operation. The fact that Jetplex EP works there speaks volumes about its strength and reliability under heavy loads. Essential for safety and, well, the thrill.
Definitely needs safety there.
Yeah.
Okay, this next one, it just made me smile. Nickel or MP silicone grease for musical instrument tuning pegs.
Tuning pegs like on a guitar.
Guitars, violins, yeah. Anyone who plays knows how annoying, stiff, or jerky tuners are.
Oh, absolutely. Makes tuning a nightmare.
So a tiny dab of one of these can apparently just smooth things right out. It's not the first thing you'd think of applying to your vintage Martin.
No, but it makes sense. Just need a little bit of smooth, non-reactive lubrication for precise adjustments. Simple fix for a common musician's headache.
Okay, for the adrenaline junkies listening, wire rope lubricant for zip lines.
Zip lines, okay.
Keeping the pulleys and cables running smoothly. When you're hanging from that cable, you really want it well maintained.
You absolutely do. Zip lines put huge stress on the cable and the pulley system. High speeds, significant weight.
Right.
So a specialized wire rope lubricant doesn't just make the ride smoother. It's critical for reducing wear on those parts, preventing corrosion, and ultimately maintaining the safety of the whole setup.
Very important. Okay, sports fans. CC Luba, apparently useful on golf club shafts. Tennis racket hinges, even skateboard bearings.
Skateboard bearings, yeah, I can see that. Quiets them down, maybe makes them roll faster.
That annoying squeak from your board could be gone.
And for golf clubs or tennis rackets, I guess it's about ensuring smooth movement, maybe preventing sticking or corrosion in adjustable parts.
Yeah, reducing friction seems to be the key. Just helps equipment perform better, last longer, enhances the experience.
Makes sense.
And the last one, in this surprising category, V2 thread sealant again.
Where now?
Beer brewing equipment.
Get out, really.
Yeah, and because it's got the NSF 61 certification we talked about.
The drinking water safe one.
Exactly. It's safe for contact with beverages, so you can use it on the plumbing in your homebrew setup. Cheers to that.
That is amazing. An industrial sealant that's also food grade safe. The NSF 61 cert is really the key there, confirming nothing harmful leaches into your beer. Versatile stuff.
It really is. Okay, we're nearly there. Just a few more diverse applications to round things out. Firearms, aquariums. It just keeps going.
This last group really does show the niche applications where a very specific property of the lubricant is needed.
Right, so back to firearms quickly. White lithium grease, or MP silicone grease, for maintenance on slides, triggers, bolt carriers.
Yeah, smooth function, corrosion prevention.
Absolutely vital for reliable and safe operation of any firearm, right? Proper lubrication is just basic maintenance.
Essential. Ensures smooth action, protects the metal. Critical for function and integrity.
Okay, aquarium owners. That V2 thread sealant again.
The beer brewing one.
And the plumbing one. It's also safe for sealing pipes and fittings in both saltwater and freshwater tanks.
So no worries about chemicals harming the fish or corals.
Exactly. That NSF 61 cert gives peace of mind. It won't leach anything nasty into the water. Good to know there are safe options for that.
Definitely. Protecting those delicate ecosystems is key for aquarium keepers. And working for both salt and fresh water makes it versatile.
We mentioned it before, but worth repeating. SS30 Extreme Anti-Seize for battery terminals. Tackles corrosion pretty much anywhere you have a battery.
Yeah, cars, boats, backup systems. Corrosion is just a common enemy of good electrical connections.
And this stuff stops it. Ensures reliable power flow. Simple but effective.
Very.
Cyclists, moly misted dry lubricant. Not just for motorcycles.
For bicycles, too.
Yep. Chains, derailleurs, gear mechanisms. Keeps your ride smooth, efficient. A clean, well-lubed bike is just so much nicer to ride.
Yeah. Same principle as the motorbike chain. Dry lube, keeps the dirt off, reduces wear, makes everything shift nicely. Good for performance.
Okay, grill masters. Back to the barbecue. Nickel anti-seize for the hardware.
Those bolts that get cooked on and rusty.
Exactly. Stands up to the heat, stops them seizing, makes cleaning and maintenance way less of a fight.
That's genuinely useful. Barbecue heat really does a number on metal fasteners. This would make taking things apart much easier. Extends the life of the grill, too.
Fishermen and women. Marine MP grease, we saw it for boat trailers.
Resists water.
Also good for protecting fishing reels from saltwater corrosion.
Ooh, yeah. Salt water's brutal on fishing gear. Reels especially.
Constant threat. So this grease provides that water-resistant barrier, keeps the insides working smoothly, helps your expensive reel last longer.
Makes sense. Keep the gear in top shape for landing the big one.
Woodworkers. EP bearing greaser and Jetplex EP. For bearings in planers, lathes, table saws.
Keeping those precision machines running true.
Exactly. Smooth bearings are critical for accuracy in woodworking. This stuff minimizes friction, reduces wear, helps you get precise cuts, and extends the tool life.
Very important for quality work and protecting your investment in those tools.
Even simple garden tools. Pruners, shovels, shears. Rust Guard or CC Lube can keep them from rusting and sticking.
Yeah, makes yard work less of a chore if your tools actually work smoothly.
Totally. They're always getting wet and dirty. A bit of lube helps them function better, last longer, saves money replacing them too.
Good practical tip.
Musicians get another shout out. MP silicone grease for brass instrument tuning slides and valves.
Keeping the trumpets and trombones moving freely.
And TF25 thread sealant for woodwind joints like on clarinets or oboes. Keeping instruments playable is key.
Absolutely. Smooth valves and slides are essential for brass players.
Yeah.
And good seals on woodwind joints maintain the instrument's tone and response. Proper lubrication preserves playability.
And finally, for the tech crowd, 3D printers.
Oh, what needs lube there?
White lithium grease and CC Luber for the rails, lead screws, bearings, basically the moving parts.
For smooth and accurate movement. Makes sense.
Precision is everything in 3D printing, right? So proper lubrication minimizes friction, reduces vibration, leads to more accurate prints and less wear on the printer itself.
Yeah, that smooth, precise travel is critical for print quality.
Well, there we have it. I mean, that was quite a journey.
It really was.
From, squeaky hinges at home to massive industrial machines, carnival rides, musical instruments. The sheer range of uses for these Jet-Lube products based on that PE energy info, it's genuinely eye-opening.
It is. It really makes you appreciate the underlying science and just how versatile these specialized lubes and sealants can be.
Yeah. What's really fascinating is realizing that these, seemingly industrial-only products can actually solve everyday problems, often maybe better than the usual stuff we reach for.
Exactly. And in so many different areas, it really highlights how understanding the basic properties of materials lets you apply them in really creative, unexpected ways.
So maybe the next time something around you is, sticking or squeaking or seizing up, maybe the answer isn't that old can of all-purpose spray we all have. Maybe it's something a bit more Jet-Lube.
Could be.
It's definitely given me a whole new way of looking at how things work and how to fix them.